It helps when I have myself on the stage. Welcome to Earworms, or welcome back to Earworms if you've been with us before. If it's your first time, we'll be gentle tonight. I'm Dr. Lawrence W. Moore of the Wayfarer Project, and tonight we are going to be looking at the Outer Limits episode known as Nightmare, which was a very impactful classic science fiction and classic episode of the Outer Limits series. Basically, the score for that is one of the things we're going to be talking about because musically, it was really intriguing. It was very haunting. It incorporated some things like the Onafets synthesizer, which was a makeshift synthesizer just for the TV series. And we'll be talking about its creation and as well as many of the memorable moments from the score because I've come about some research on it. And so we get to talk about some things. Alrighty. And as well, it was a great episode, and we'll talk a little bit about the story and basically go through the slides of the thing with some media clips. Great musical moments. Pretty innovative for what was happening at the time in television. All right, so I'll just go on and talk forever if I don't start introducing my guests. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hello.
Looks
like I'm back.
Yeah, let's do some equality here. There we go.
I'm back.
Yes, you are. So I hope you're feeling well this week.
I'm feeling better. Yes, thank you.
That's good. Yeah, it seems to be right at the end of winter when some sicknesses are going around.
Sinuses.
Oh yeah.
Gotta love it.
Well, at least spring is on the way. I think we got one more week before spring's here.
Yeah,
so
I'm cool. Ready.
All right. Well, let's see if Liza can give us a little more conversation here. Come on, Liza. There she is. And
Hello.
Let's arrange this a little better. How about that? We'll put you on stage. How about
there
that?
She is.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Prominent place there.
All righty. So, this is our third Outer Limits episode. And when I say Outer Limits, I'm talking about the classic series. Not the one in the 90s that, I don't know how long it was, but it kind of came out for a little while. And I guess generally
didn't last long.
Yeah, didn't seem.
Wasn't
the first one, the original, was only 2 seasons, but it stayed in the memory because of some of the great topics explored and some of the technology that was implemented at the time that was pretty cool and gave someone a better sci-fi experience than what was happening before for those episodes that were sci-fi.
And a lot of people in it that were up and coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Well, in fact, tonight we do have a little bit of trivia for our chat because we're about to see a face on screen who's one of the characters in this episode, and we want to see if you recognize who this is. And this would be a very young iteration of this person. And the person, I believe, is still with us today. And so here we go. Does anybody recognize this face? Looks like we got Scott, our regular, our rock. We got Eraserhead. We have Adam Gray. Adam Gray might know. We have Flav as usual. So yes, the face on screen. This is Arthur Dix. Don't go looking it up. That's the name of the character, Arthur Dix, Private Arthur Dix. And we're wondering who the actor is. Well, we have to wait a little bit because
Well, I'm not wondering. I'm wondering
Mike
if Dave-
knows. Yeah, Mike knows. I'm monitoring the chat here to see if anyone's.
He is still alive. He's 84.
Ooh.
Adam Gray knows. He's just not saying.
Well, or our audio, since we're at a delay, there's about 10 seconds delay between what we're doing live and what gets streamed on YouTube. So we're still waiting.
Maybe no one knows.
Any guesses?
He's also
Who
from
is
Dayton,
this?
Ohio,
Oh.
my hometown.
Hopefully no one
Oh. Didn't know that, Mike.
Yes. His whole family. I don't know if he still lives there. I don't think so. Maybe.
It is one of those families in Hollywood that has some names. It's one of those families.
Well, maybe if you create an AI generated version of him in Stable Diffusion, people might be able to guess.
Oh, that would have been a great idea for tonight, but I decided, no, I'm going to play my synthesizer instead. Yes, that is something that is coming up. We are going to be looking at, I basically put together something that's like similar to a theremin, but not quite, using Moog Werkstatt. So just in, shall we say, in accordance with this episode. But
Give it
anyway,
a guess, Scott. Give it a guess.
how about this? Here's a hint. He played the president in a TV show once. Let's see. We'll see. So anyway, how about I play that first media clip? And that'll give people a chance to answer. Let's see here. That takes some skill in DJing, which is not my forte. Okay, media. All right, here's our first one. So we're going to...
Oh, Scott got it. Scott got it.
Who looked it up?
Did he?
I mean, it's hard at first. Yes, the answer is Martin
Turn my
Sheen.
mic on. Good job, Scott.
Yay,
It is Martin
Scott.
Sheen.
Yep.
Who-
And you see that in the credits, but also you do kind of recognize him as the scenes go on. Maybe this first scene here is a little bit raucous, but you do recognize it over time. But it's a very young iteration. So anyway, we're going to see this opening clip. It's short enough. It has the Onafets synthesizer in it, and it also gives you a good idea of the score. If you've ever seen this episode before, this will give you a good reminder as well. So here we go. Let me see if I can play this.
Here we go.
Why does it keep pausing? Oh my goodness. Don't tell me I exported a clip that small by accident.
That's what you did.
Oh, I think I still have the full length clip here, so I can play that. Didn't I do this like 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
Yeah, let's open up the full length clip from the episode. All I have to do is play the beginning.
There you go.
All right. Oh my goodness. One of these days I might get good at this. One of these days.
Off to a flying start.
Dix! 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 Get away from me! Don't touch me! Don't touch me!
Don't touch me.
All right. So that's how it opens. And I guess you just got to put yourself back at that time. I'm pretty sure it was probably not normal to open a TV show that way. Pretty in your face with the aliens and this private dick's going through some sort of,
That was scary shit back then, man.
yeah, he's definitely going through a nervous breakdown. And they're wondering what the heck's going on. So anyway, yeah, Martin Sheen there to start. So, and in that excerpt, we did hear the Onafets Synthesizer. Just to give a little background as we go, since we're going to be talking about it a little bit. The Onafets Synthesizer was something that Mike came across a couple weeks ago when we were doing the Obit episode. And it was a synthesizer made for the TV show by a gentleman by the name of John Elizalde. And I wish I had a picture of it to show you here, but no, I don't have one. Wasn't able to find one.
I couldn't find one either.
Yeah, apparently it looked like a big dial with masking tape pointing out the positions on the dial and what note that would be. So it was kind of like a theremin with guidelines, just like the stringer that was the theremin used in Good Vibrations, the Beach Boys hit, was basically a string capacitor for playing notes. So it wasn't your hands in the air waving around like true theremin. But the idea is that it's a complete tuning slide of an instrument. Like basically you have to find just the right position to play a note accurately. So your dial could go all over the place and so forth. But that's what they used. And in that intro, that was it there with the low, that kind of buzzy synth sound. That was their makeshift synthesizer, the Onafets. And doubling it in the higher register was violin, flute, and accordion, which was it was kind of like a chamber music ensemble that they used for this. Some harps, flutes, accordion, and some violin. I think there was also cellos in the chamber ensemble, but it was just a small, maybe like 10 instruments total, maybe a few more than that. And, what they did with it was pretty cool. It was originally scored for orchestra, but they did it in a smaller setting. And the violin, in fact, was an electric violin. And so it was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, let us move on.
Well, they were on a shoestring budget, so.
Right. Wait, you said that it was electric violin at this point. When was the electric guitar invented?
Oh, it was around then.
It was around then, so
Oh, yeah.
is this magnetic and not piezo electric violin?
The article I read did not say whether
Oh,
it was magnetic or piezo or
yeah.
just that it was electric violin that was used there. I guess it was for sounding a little bit more abrasive and eerier. And since it was doubling with an accordion, believe it or not, I guess the electronification helped with that because accordions tend to project pretty loud. And so there you
Holy
go.
crap, the first electric guitar was made in 1931.
Wow.
I would have never guessed that. I had looked that up.
I didn't know it was that early.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm
Yeah,
going through our scenes here from the episode. I always include these, it's a
Well,
tradition.
one thing says 31, so another says 32, but okay. Either way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting.
They also had Focus back then.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
No, I was seeing who made it. It was invented by George Beauchamp with the help of Adolf Rickenbacker. There you go.
Rickenbacker,
is a
that's
well-known
a
name in
name.
guitars and
Yeah.
bass. Yes. So there you go. And another one says a guy named Paul Tutmark. So I guess there's some controversy. We'll have to maybe dive into that later.
There's always controversy in invention.
Yes, of course.
We started with controversy with what was it? Elisha Gray was our first Earworms 1 topic. And he, of course, basically got
Yeah.
to the patent office the same day as
Yeah.
Alexander Graham Bell. And there may have been some shenanigans there. So we don't know.
Oh, of
But
course there was.
yeah, guess anytime there's money involved, there's going to be.
Always.
Yeah. So anyway, it's called Nightmare, folks, and it does turn out to be a bit of a nightmare. We will be delving into the stories, but here, directed by James Shigeta. But the story was written by John Stefano, and of course, the episode was produced by John Stefano. He produced the classic The Outer Limits series. It stars Ed Nielsen, not to be confused with Leslie Nielsen. And it also stars Martin Sheen there at the top, Bill Gunn, and David Frankman. Okay, so one of those names made it till today. There we go. Joseph. I said John before. Sorry. Trying to memorize John Elizalde,
Quite a bit
Joseph
so.
Stefano. There we go. Joseph Stefano. Sorry for saying John earlier. So all the names I was reading about this week. And written by it. So he wrote the story too. Very cool.
Directed by John Ehrman.
Yep.
He didn't direct it.
Yeah, wasn't there like some Sherigan or Shenigan mentioned before? Oh, well, whatever. People can just read the credits. I'll just say them wrong. So anyway, the story begins with space. You know, Earth has reached out and made contact with other life. And unfortunately, the first contact did not go well. It was with the planet Eben and the Ebonites. And basically, the Earth withstood an attack. And then there you can see what happened to Earth. We'll later find out that there's more to the story than this,
Kaboom.
but at least we are led to believe at first that we were attacked by another planet, and then we were justified in going out and attacking the other planet. And so there we go. We can see rocket launching and stuff, rockets flying, and eventually giving us spacecraft. The planet Eben is a dark planet out there, a mysterious question mark, as they call it, deep in space. And here is a shuttlecraft going out to planet Eben. And we're going to see the inside and the people in that shuttlecraft quite shortly. But there we go. That's our early spacecraft there. Beautiful stuff. So anyway, in the shuttlecraft, going to the planet Eben is a crack group of troops. And we find out that it's basically a unified Earth at this point, kind of like Star Trek, like all these soldiers are from different countries, part of the Unified Earth Alliance. And they're being briefed here before the mission. And one of the things before they get hit, because they start getting hit here by some weaponry. And one of the things he brings up is if you're captured, and that's where he was not able to finish the sentence because look at this, they're getting smackified by some Eben technology. Basically, everyone's shaking and shaky cam, basically, and it's all kind of dark. And here's where he finally says, and if we get captured, but he trails off, we don't know what the suggestion is for when you get captured. And I get to play a media clip. So let's see if this one was exported properly. I hope so, because otherwise I have to fast forward to find it, and I don't want to do that. You're risking yourself when you're fast forwarding through an episode here on YouTube. All right. Oops. I went ahead to the next scene. I meant to play this scene. There we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
Face right, step forward, and identify yourselves. Your name alone will do for the moment.
All right. So that was them being captured. They're being marched along by the Ebonites, and we hear the voice of an Ebonite speaking to them, and they have to. They just said just your name, but of course these are soldiers, so they're going to try to say their name, rank, and serial number if they can. But that scene there, man, it's just like,
And they will.
just hearing that synthesizer is just so. It's like not what you expect from that time period. You had some synthesizers used before that point, primarily the theremin, but this is a lot more raucous and everything than the theremin. So pretty cool stuff at the time. So now let's get back here. And that's where we left off. Now, this is an interesting story. I mean, it's not just the music that was cool and classic sci-fi music, but it was also the story was interesting. Now, Liza didn't really care for it so much, but I felt like it was pretty interesting. The thing is, you had to watch it a few times to know all the different people, I think, unless you got a really good photographic memory at first when they introduce themselves, like this one here.
You had to pay attention.
Yeah, Colonel Stone, Colonel Luke Stone. I mean, you kind of need to know their names. And he's from the United States Astro Force. And then we have Ezra Krug from the German Astro Force. So one of those things, unified Earth here, but they're all from different countries. I think this is the British guy, Terrence something. I don't have all the names down, but Terrence something. And then we have the what the heck? No, that's Terrence something, right? I mean, the lighting is kind of dark on the guys, so sometimes it was hard for me to tell who's who. All right. But, all right, there we go. And then this is James Wilmore from the African Astro Force. And then we have, I think this is Jung, right? I can't tell. No, that's Dix. All right, we're at the end. Okay, one of the guys in the middle was Jung. I think therein might have been the problem for Liza, because at least in that scene, a lot of the lighting was a little difficult, and it's hard for me to tell the difference between the guys. But anyway, finally, they're being interned as POWs, and they're going through the march. And we already played this scene because they played it at the beginning, and that's where Dix peels off, and he's like panicking for some reason. And an alien comes over with a wand and basically mutes him. And it was something that's kind of cool in the score, which I'm actually going to share here a little bit. As soon as we get to the good stopping point, I'm going to share a little bit of the musical score because it was written in the score. Like when Dix goes to the ground and when his mouth is moving, just as notes, so that when Dominic Frontiere, who composed the music for the episode as well as pretty much all of season 1 of The Outer Limits, he, while conducting the chamber ensemble, he could make sure he's on time with things and stuff. So he put some of the cues into the musical score for when he's conducting. But that's one of the Ebonites with a wand, and the wand basically was used to mute Private Dix. And basically, since they let the scene go on a little bit more, you get to see his mouth moving, but he's making no sound. So, and there his friends are coming to his aid. But I think what I'm going to do is show this article. This article, I have a link in the description to this article. It's from, well, we're going to see the title of it in a moment. Might as well wait till I'm there. But this is about this episode and the score for the episode. And it was a pretty interesting read. And it would be even interesting for people who even don't read music, because the gentleman who wrote this article did explain things a lot. Okay, I'm going to ask my fellow panelists, do you see on screen a web page that says "We are controlling transmission"?
Do I see it on screen?
Yes.
No.
Okay, let
I
me
just
try
see the
this.
picture.
How about that? There we go. Looks like it's on screen now, right?
It's blank.
Blank.
There's a blank screen. It doesn't say anything. Just black.
Great.
That's what I'm seeing anyway.
You're seeing just,
Looks like on the YouTube though they're seeing it.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's.
Oh, now I see it.
Yeah.
It's on now. There we go. We are controlling transmission.
Yeah, I think
We
we
might
are
have a
not controlling transmission.
Something
Evie.
else is controlling it.
I think the
yeah.
Ebonites
I don't know.
have
And I'm
taken.
probably the only one, but once again, you're breaking up on me.
Yeah, great. Yeah, the Ebonites have taken control of transmission here, and they're really screwing us up. But anyway, at least the channel sees it. So anyway, here's the article. This is, I guess, this article refers back to a time in 1984 with the gentleman who wrote it by the name of Larry Rapchak. Basically met with Roger Ferris, who was the assistant composer and copyist for the series. So that's the gentleman who would help take the ideas that Frontiere, the composer, would write, and take a rough score and make it into a better looking score. And then he would also take the score and write out the parts for the musicians to play. And so this is where it talks about the episode, and the link is in the description. I'm definitely not going to read it to you because we'll be talking about it in our own words. But in here, you also see like pictures of the score, and it's really kind of cool just seeing some of this well-written music in pencil, because everything I've done pretty much has been in computer. Even the written music, the scores and parts, pretty much I used Finale all those years.
Yeah, even with finale, transcription is a pain
Pretty
in
old
the
school.
rear. Yeah.
But that's why they also used a lot of shorthand to kind of like, they'll write out a couple measures of ideas, and if that repeats at all, they just kind of like take a line and draw an arrow and say repeat. And so it wouldn't be what classical musicians would only get used to it from having worked in Hollywood. It's not the way you do it in traditional ensembles, but in Hollywood they would kind of use some shorthand. So anyway, the link is in the description for anyone that wants to know a little bit more about it. They mention the Onafets in here, but they don't really say much other than it was a big dial that was used to control it, and pretty much an oscillator, which they already had oscillators used for the theremins, and so I assume it was quite similar to that. And it was putting out, from what I could tell there, it sounded like a sawtooth waveform. So
I
pretty
can't
cool
see
instrument.
I can't see the details of the score, but how are the parts for the synthesizer notated?
Well, it was using notes because they had masking tape markers on the dial for the notes. So
Okay.
the musician could read the notes, and it would be melody because it was monophonic, and they would basically turn the dial to the appropriate note, which which probably takes some getting used to. All right, so let us go back here. I just wanted to let people know about that.
It was pretty advanced for its time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
yeah.
it's really simplistic.
Well, you know what? I mean, still today, it would be a pain in the butt to turn a dial to play music, although I do it a little bit myself with my own synthesizers, which we'll be kind of like take a look at in a moment. I want to
You've
show you
done
my
it a
Moog
whole
Workshop.
heck of a lot.
Yeah, but I wasn't reading like notes.
No,
I was improvising.
usually what you were reading off were graphic scores.
Yeah.
Or graphic parts for the synthesizer. At least that's what we did in our productions.
Yeah, but that's different than reading note by note and the rhythms.
Yep, yep.
Dotted quarter note, eighth note, and all that stuff.
Yep, yep.
And
yep.
turn the dial right on time with that. I mean, that's why it was a little sloppy. But anyway, here we go. Dix. He's obviously the other soldiers come over to him, and they're being held prisoner there. There's, I guess, the main tower guard at the POW camp, and they run over to him, but basically Dix can't speak anymore. They took his voice away, and all he can do is move his mouth and try to speak, but it doesn't work. And then this box comes down. It's the voice of the interrogator, and that's kind of a cool, ominous looking speaker. I dig that. And that asks, who is your leader? Like, who's going to be the representative for the humans there? Since they're all POWs now, who's your representative? Well, it's going to be Colonel Luke Stone here is going to be the representative of them. And he starts asking, we need sanitation, we need water, we need food. And apparently the Ebonites already know what humans need. They just say that, we will subscribe to your demands after you subscribe to ours. So the whole deal is you're not going to get creature comforts until we see you doing what we want you to do. So that's the whole implication here is they've been captured, they're prisoners of war, and they're going to be interrogated. So it doesn't look all that great. It doesn't look happy at all. And we see the faces of the soldiers there and what they're going to have to endure. And there's Dick looking all verklempt.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right. And I thought I'd remember most of the dialogue, but I don't remember specifically. But, it just goes on and saying, just kind of like the rules, like that there is other humans here and we kind of already have contact with them. So we kind of know what's going on with human beings, but you're going to have to obey in order to get anywhere. And Dix can't speak no matter how much he tries. And there we go. So then someone else started freaking out because Dix was being asked to join as the first person to be interrogated. And he doesn't exactly want that. He lost his voice. He's scared. And so he's freaking out, and they're saying, no, come on, go with them. They're not going to hurt you. Come on. And here comes an Ebonite to take him, and Dix is on the ground there. And someone else comes up behind the Ebonite, and he gets zappified. That's James Willimore of the African Astro Force. And so he gets blinded. Yep.
Blinded by the light.
Wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night.
That's right.
What does that song mean?
Yeah, well, it meant for the longest time, for a lot of years, I thought it was wrapped up like a douche. And I was wondering, what the hell?
What the?
I didn't know they were wrapped up.
Doesn't make sense
That
to
was
me
a common
either way.
error on that song.
Yeah.
It's secret lingo or
They smoked a lot of herbs back then, man.
Oh, so it's herb lingo, Mike.
Could be.
Well, I think a deuce is like a two in cards. I don't know why it'd be wrapped up. Well, I don't know. Okay.
Man, I'm trying to remember. It seemed to me that was one of the I have to look that one up. That was a slang for a joint.
Oh,
Wasn't that like the Manfred Mann band or something like that?
No,
yeah?
that
It's
was
an engine they were describing.
Gary Wright. Is that right?
I don't know. Yeah, welcome to Earworms. We're going to guess about who wrote music. Okay, so anyway, now there's more than one problem. There's Wilmore that's blind, and what's his name? Oh man, I forget. Yeah, and Dix, who can't speak, and so the Ebonites are laying out the law here pretty firmly. And now we're going to join the beginning of Dick's interrogation here with media number 3. And this is where we get to hear more of the Onafets, as well as some of the electric violins. They have a pretty cool part coming up in this, as well as some other things I felt were interesting musically to speak about. Okay. And away we go. So that's the Onafets there with these swells. It's a swell coming in and out with amplitude, but also in pitch, almost like a pendulum effect, this slow, ominous, haunting line to, I don't know, to really set the mood for like this dimly lit place of interrogation.
That is a creepy sound.
Sit down.
I like it.
Dix.
Yeah, I want one.
I should probably also mention the voice being used here. It sounds similar to some voices in other Outer Limits episodes I remember. It's almost like the galaxy being that episode 1 of the Outer Limits that we did a few months back. But it's ring modulation and distortion going on there.
Ha, I guessed.
Yes. And makes an effective sound. Sounds very old speakerly.
Perhaps it is nothing more than thirst that prohibits the use of your voice. Guard, bring him water.
And now when he drinks the water,
Drink, Private Dix.
that's a classic sound used in film, especially at that time. That I believe was, it didn't say in the article, but from hearing that, I believe that was made by recording a harp on tape and then playing the tape
LFO.
back at a different speed and maybe even backwards to make that kind of like shimmering sound. But I could definitely hear resonating strings like a harp. You can make similar sounds with the strings of like a grand piano if you open the lid and kind of like play the strings. I did a piece, and it's on this channel. I composed a piece called Bouquet in the Abyss, and that is all piano being played forwards, backwards, with delay and reverb on it. And it was basically made from like just a small, like maybe 10 to 12 second clip, and turned it into like a 20-minute piece. I don't think it's a full 20 minutes, but in any case, yeah. Resonating string instruments like piano and like harp can really make some
Well, you never
intriguing
know what he
sounds.
might have done. He could have done something really innovative. The guy with there's a band called Two Bob Crew. He plays an African harp, which is called a kora, and there's a weird sound that he makes, and how he does it is with saliva. He rubs saliva on his hands and then rubs the string, and it makes this crazy ass sound. So you don't know what he might have been doing some really crazy shit.
How
Who
do
knows?
how do we find that?
What?
Is there a YouTube video of this?
Oh God, I'd have to find the exact song. I could find
Okay. Oh, don't worry about it. But that's interesting.
it another time for you, but
Yeah?
yeah,
What's the name of the
they're a
band
really good
again?
band.
What's the
Well, I'm not
name of
going
the
to find
band?
it now.
Two
Two Bob
Bob.
Crew. They're out of Two Bob Crew. They're out of Asheville, North Carolina, and he actually went over to Africa to study these instruments, and he plays the African kora.
Wow, Two Bob Crew. Check that out. All righty. So as we move on, we get an idea of what the interrogation's like, and we see Dix is trying to talk during the interrogation, and it says, "No, it's not working out. Maybe you're just thirsty." Well, that's what we saw in that section. But he takes a drink of the water, and guess what? It doesn't work out. So the alien's saying, "Well, what if you had somebody that you really wanted to talk to? Then maybe you would get your voice back." And yes, and we do see the blurry film here, and Mama coming in. Um, uh, at first, Dix was saying his name, rank, and serial number, and the alien says, "Well, that would only be useful for your family um, after you die." You know, and it's like, okay, that doesn't sound all that great, but there he is. He finds that he was basically hallucinating his mother here, and he runs into the wall afterwards. So his mother was not able to, I guess. Well, actually, that didn't happen just yet. That moment, that was the first image of the mother, which was just showing them that they could create hallucinations.
And he did a great job with that.
Yeah.
I would say this. I don't think this is one of the ranks up as one of the best Outer Limit episodes. I think what
Mm-hmm.
I liked about it most was just seeing Martin Sheen at such an early age, and you can see from this episode why he went on to become big because his acting is superb in this episode. The
Yeah.
storyline is not one of the best, but his acting in this episode is superb.
Yeah. And at this point, a psychiatrist comes in. Now, the Ebonites did say before that there was other Earth people there. They had came before in these attacks, but they were held prisoner or whatever, and basically they're there. And so this must be one of those, or is it a hallucination? Dix can't be sure, but the guy at least speaks to Dix about recognizing him. You know, he was a psychiatrist that had evaluated him before he joined the military and everything, or as he joined the military. And then he tells him that you have a really self-destructive personality. That's what I found out about you. And you're going to basically try to hold the truth back and keep your secrets until death even. And that's not going to help you out. You should really tell them what they want to hear, because there's no point in just you being self-destructive and dying, and there's no honor in that, basically is what he's suggesting. And the alien then says, "Okay, that's enough talk for now. We'd like to speak to him alone." So basically he was just there to drop the suggestion that, you're self-destructive, but you should save yourself. There's no honor in keeping your secrets to the grave. And that's hit this point where he basically, the alien suggests that if maybe you could speak, if you were able to see somebody that you really wanted to talk to. And that's where he sees the mother again. And we have another clip. So the mother brings us some beautiful music, just as she did before. All right. And I'm trying to play it, but I need to go to the other screen. Okay, here we go.
You could
Mostly
speak
await.
if there was someone here you really wanted to speak to.
Arthur?
So yeah, you could hear that those violins are really reverberating. So those were electric violins there.
Arthur, you can talk to your mom, can't you, baby? Mom?
So he can speak again, and he's hugging, well, at least a hallucination of his mother. But he can speak again, and they're hugging each other just fine. I don't want to get copyrighted, so I mean, we're probably going to lose monetization for this, but I don't want to get in trouble at least. But then we see towards the end of the scene, the mother disappears, and Dix is just there holding air. So it was a hallucination. And sorry, I went backwards there. There we go. And that is the end of our first set of slides. Liza, are you still with us this fine evening?
Yeah, halfway. Yeah, halfway. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try something here. This is the first time on Earworms that we've tried to do this. I am going to take my camera here, my camera settings, and select a different one. So in order for this to work, I'm going to have to take off the virtual background as well.
Ooh.
There we go.
Ooh.
Wow.
I assume you are seeing my Moog Werkstatt there. On the table.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes, we are.
let's go to a different view where I can make that big.
There we go.
Ooh.
You should flip it to make it bigger.
Flip it.
Yeah. Oh,
Flip it
no.
good.
No. Not that flip it. No.
I flipped the wrong one.
Yep.
There we go.
There
Whee!
we go.
There we are.
See, we can eventually do things.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So, yes, if this works out, we can do more stuff like this. We were able to show Inga last week, able to show our cat.
Yeah. If we could show Inga, we could show a few synthesizers, right? Working in real time.
Now, here's the true test. Can you hear this?
I'm surprised I got invited back.
This is Mike. We can't lose Mike.
Can you hear this?
I do hear it, actually.
Yes, we hear it.
Yay!
Yay.
Well, let me explain it first, because then there's going to be a lot of sound. We have here, this is what we're talking about. The controller here is called a Coma Commander. So the company's Coma, and it's called a Commander. And basically what it is it's a UV sensor, ultraviolet sensor. It has two of them, and each sensor is composed of like 3 little optical nodes. And basically it detects range. And the reason why I got this was for my Moog Werkstatt here, which otherwise gets played with a dial, for example. And I thought, well, I'm not great playing with a dial. And the keyboard on it is, hold on. Kind of like these push button keys. That's kind of annoying. So I thought this would be a great thing to turn into a theremin. And so the way it's set up now is this bottom port. Are we hearing nothing?
No sound.
No.
No.
I wonder what happened.
No, it was just working.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, one of them does amplitude. And I think that's the top one. And one of them does pitch.
There
Okay,
we
amplitude
go.
is the bottom one. And the top one is pitch.
How's your lighting in there?
The lighting doesn't affect it because it's ultraviolet.
It might.
So basically, it has rather short ranges, and that's the problem with it. I need to calibrate it a little bit more by taking
That's
it
pretty cool.
apart. And in the back, I'd be able to open it up and change the calibration a bit. But the idea was, it has certain voltage ranges, and I set it to something that would be -5 up to +5 for Moog. But the width is pretty narrow. So it's something that needs calibration, but what I can at least do at this point, still with it like this, is turn up the LFO.
Yes.
That's an excellent ray gun sound.
Yeah. I like it.
All right, so all sorts of beautiful stuff can be done with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that might be a good little interlude for us this evening.
Absolutely.
So,
It's a very nice interlude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Night.
A stellar performance.
So who's doing show and tell next week?
Well, depends.
Depends.
Depends on, yeah. Depends on what I can get done.
I think it's about time.
Oh,
Yeah, it
my-
is.
So much to do. Oh, I like that forest backdrop. So do you think that this Coma Commander is easier to use?
I do like your
than-
backgrounds there. Getting all high
Yes,
tech there.
really nice.
Well, you can do it too. This is just EV Mux. I didn't have to do the green screen either. It's just, as long as your lighting's good, it finds you and puts a background behind you. So
Yeah, I like that backdrop.
yeah, but you haven't been showing yourself on Earworms yet.
No.
No.
Look, people. I spend the whole day working, crafting, cleaning, gardening. We live on a homestead.
Cleaning?
We are well. When I get to it, so much
Yeah.
to do. By the end of the day, I look like a haggard beast, and I do not want to. Don't have the energy to dress up and.
I
Come
bet
on
you still look
camera.
better than Martin Sheen in that picture.
Oh no. Oh no. I
No?
wish, Mike. I wish. Yeah. Inga can stand in for me anytime.
Oh, Lordy.
Because she's always attractive. She could go digging in the dirt and she's always cute looking, but not me. Not me.
All right. So we're about a third of the way through. So we have another set of slides as our story continues. And then during our next break, between those slides, I have something else to show who's an actual thereminist performing the Outer Limits theme song. Now, the series. Well, actually, it's a piece of music from the series, but it's not this episode yet. It was. It's a good performance, in other words.
No, I'm laughing at Scott.
Yeah.
Scott calls bullshit, Liza.
Yeah, well. They
Well,
do not believe me.
she
But
uses
you know that you put it up there.
she uses her attractiveness for
Oh
her
my!
channel, not ours.
No, trust me. If I were camera ready, I'd be on it right now. But no, 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 no.
Well, we'll give you a week. How's that?
Yeah, how about that?
Well,
Yeah.
if I could have just a Sunday where I don't have to do anything else but earworms, then
Well,
I'll come
Lawrence
on
will
and
do
do
it
that.
all for you next Sunday. How's that?
There we go.
Well, some of them are things
There
that
we
she
go. That's the
does,
deal.
like her streams for her guitars are her streams for her guitars. But
Well, yeah, you
anyway,
can't do
Well,
that.
I made
but,
an
you know,
audio visualizer for my latest guitar streams, though, because yeah. Oh yeah, Mike, I will be giving my app away in my newsletter if anyone's interested. I build apps and I give them away in my newsletter.
your app.
Yep, yep.
yeah, there's links to Psyche Opera below in the description for anyone that just found this video and doesn't know us yet.
Yep. And you could subscribe to my newsletter by going
I guess I need to go check out your live. Is your live stream? Well, yeah, I do that. I didn't see your live stream today. Is that going to be up?
Yeah,
Go back and-
they're up. They're troubleshooting live streams, and you could take a look at the audio visualizer I built for my latest streams. I mean, I will be coming on camera for my CBG lesson streams, but for my other streams, I will be using my audio visualizer app that I made in Max 9, and I will be sharing my app for those of you who need something similar for your live streams. I will be sharing it in my newsletter, and you'll be able to download it for free.
It's basically
Cool.
it's a VTuber type of thing.
VTuber? Question?
Yeah, that's when people use an avatar. Usually they're 3D avatars, though. I guess yours is 2D.
Yeah, this is just a simple selfie with waveform in the background. It's just an audio reactive selfie.
Okay.
Simple. For OBS.
Cool.
Don't know if it'll work on this type of
OBS.
platform, though.
Well, here's our water trough
Here's our water trough.
on planet Evan. And they're getting a drink of water and, talking about the situation they're in. But you get the idea. The pressure's building. And I think that's Jung there, right? Yes. And becomes an important person later. But, the talk is about, staying strong and not telling secrets and so forth. And Jung mentions like the tortures that were carried out by the communist Chinese in Korea and so forth. At least that's what he was speaking about. I think this episode was probably not long after the Korean War, so there was references to it there. And so some of the guys that saying that they're going to be
That would be
strong and
correct.
not speak are probably, Jung says, well, you may not be so strong when you see what kind of torture they come up with. And then he had an interesting idea. We're here on this other planet that's making us think about differently about life. Perhaps it'll make us think differently about death. Like, what would death be like if you die on another planet? Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it makes a difference or not. But in any case, an
Strange
ebonite.
detour in this part of the episode.
Philosophical.
Well, that's what it's about.
Do
you know.
what?
That's what it's about. Is the whole conflict between, you're basically in a situation where you could be tortured for information, and it's like, how long do you hold out? How do you hold out? What anguish you go through in doing that. So anyway, I think they're announcing that they're going to take, who's next? They were going to take the German guy next, which is this guy here. No, not him. That's Jung. Whatever. The German guy, Krug, and
The German guy.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's his name. Ezra Krug is the name of the character. And so he gets selected next. And Wilmore's not happy because he thinks, because Dix came back with his voice after going away, he wants to go next so that he would be coming back with his sight. But no, Krug's next. And so he's worried about uh, basically some of his own personal secrets. And basically, his personal secret is known by a babysitter that knows that he's not entirely, you know, up to Aryan standards for the Nazis back at that time. Now, this is after that, but since this was only about, 20 years after the Nazis, it's like still in people's memories and so forth. And he would have been alive during that World War II. And so he would have basically have to have dealt with that not being a true Aryan in German culture. But not only that, the reason why is because of a grandfather that we hear about, and that grandfather is somebody he actually turned in. So you see this prop here where he's at it's almost like, here, welcome to the POW camp. Observe these interesting things on Eben. And but anyway, that's just, I guess, a hallucination. Um, but then that's when he breaks down and reveals that, yes, that he did turn in his own grandfather. Uh, but the grandfather um, forgives you, it says at the end. But the guy's all broken up. He's basically fallen apart, crying his eyes out for what
He
he's
does
done.
fall apart.
Yeah, he literally does, because the last thing you see here is after he's collapsing. Um, oh, didn't I get that image in there? Basically, it showed him like with this big pillar coming out of him, like some electronic thing.
There you go.
And I thought I got that in the picture. I thought
I
I
don't
got
think
that
we're up to that
slide.
yet.
No? Oh, okay. Well, it didn't happen yet. But anyway, we're back here, back at camp. And these guys are talking, and once again, it's about how long you're going to hold out. And there it is. There we go. That's what happened to Krug.
There
He
it is.
collapsed, and he has this electronic thing sticking out of his chest. Now, we'll find out later what it really is, but we also find out later what it is not. Man. But right now, as an audience, you're just left to believe, oh, he collapsed, and then the aliens are doing something to him. So we will see.
They're torturing him, or so you think.
But is the torture the music? Let's see. So the melody there is the Onafets with some violin, flute, and accordion, and the harps are also doing some plucking there, the higher frequency or higher notes, and then the lower notes, the boom, 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 boom. It didn't say what that was, so I was trying to think, how would you make that sound? That boom, 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 and to me, it sounds like something I could do with like
Cello?
yeah, could be, or it could be any kind of, um, like it could even be an acoustic guitar. I think you could take a acoustic guitar and kind of like tap a bit on the strings, and basically you get a recording of the sound resonating throughout the body. But yeah, I think something lower like a cello might give you lower tones. But there we go. So anyway,
It's plausible.
yeah, alternative approaches to playing instruments. And now we move on. So let us go a little faster here to not get so bogged down in the story and to get Mike to bed tonight. Basically, yeah, basically we see at some point this image where we see the interrogator Ebonite, but then two military guys on either side of them. That's interesting. What's that all about? Well, anyway, uh, Scott comes back, or Stone, whatever his name is, comes back, and he's basically like, yeah, he was told by the Ebonite, tell the others what happened to your poor friend Krug, and so that's when he comes back and mentions to them that Krug is dead, and so that's when they're starting to really ramp up here in the anxiety and the tension because one of them's dead already. Wow. And so more interesting dialogue. I mean, it's something where I would have had to have the script here to remember all of it, but you know, it's all about that struggle because they're starting to talk to each other and say things like, I would never talk, or I would never talk, or someone might have talked, and that sort of thing back and forth. And Jung actually has a good comment about this that he says, at least we're all being human because this is what human beings would do. They would fight over this thing. They would um, basically compete with one another over it. So as long as we stay human, we'll be all right. I don't know. Interesting point, but I don't know how much it'll help. What do we have here? Stitch, welcome back.
I like Stitch's avatar.
He's chief mod on another channel.
Uh,
Goes live about the same time. Is always. Oh man, he's got I always regret missing this. Ah, Stitch. Well, you can always catch us on the rewind. Yeah, I imagine this time slot is in high demand. So, well, anyway, we shall soldier on. But thanks for stopping by, Stitch.
Definitely.
Man, but yeah, that's one of the things I don't remember exactly at this point what the conversation was, but it was already just the beginnings of this whole thing, which ramps up later in accusing people. Now, there's Wilmore. He's kind of upset because he wants to, he wants his sight back, but he's scared about the interrogation, and so he
This
gets,
is when emotions start running really rampant.
yeah, as they would, you know. And the Brit is being questioned now, and there's somebody there. We assume it's one of the soldiers that came beforehand, someone that's fairly high up, is talking to him about his family, um, and everything because this guy had known his family. But the thing's the same. It's basically anytime you see one of the human military people, they're just trying to play like the good cop approach in having you give up your secrets or answer the questions, basically cooperate with the interrogator, and then the interrogator does the interrogating, and it's the humans that really try to coax you into giving him what he wants. And so they're like, no, we got to stay strong. That's what their idea is to resist. But anyway, that general there then does leave, and Terrence is left there with the interrogator, and that's basically his story. They talk back and forth a little bit, and Terrence just refuses to give him information. Instead, he just says his name, rank, and serial number, or just name and rank, and that's it. And the interrogator didn't get information out of him. And then you get a cutaway to this scene with two other military guys just kind of looking at a view screen, talking about the different people. And they're basically talking about who do they think is going to break first? Who do they think is going to give up information first? One of them thinks it'll be
This is
Dix,
where plot thickens.
but the other guy says, nah, it'll be this guy instead. And so we'll have to see. The plot does thicken. And we race onwards. I'm trying to remember where we're at now. Oh, yes. This is where Jung gets taken in. And Jung has the wand treatment, which we find out is actually some pretty bad treatment, especially when it gets to the arm. That's when he starts screaming, and he says some interesting thing here. I forget what it was, but it was pretty interesting, some poetic line. But yeah, so here we are back here, and after we see that scene, we get an announcement from the Ebonites that you guys are going to be treated better now. We're not even going to be guarding you. We're giving you this food. Here's your dinner. So they think, uh-oh, somebody must have cracked, because all of a sudden they're going to be treating us nice now. And so they're thinking about it as they're being offered the food and being told that you'll be treated with dignity, and you won't even be guarded anymore. And that's where we see the guard actually starting to walk off. But more mind games, basically. Imagine where you don't know what the truth is going on around you, and you're going through all this stuff. So they're starting to think someone cracked. And it's probably this Jung, because he's the one that just went, and there he is. He just came back, so they think he did it. And so he describes what happened to him, though. Basically his right arm was pulverized using that wand. It basically is a broken arm, but only the left one works. The right one just dangles down at his side. So he's been through the worst torture of them all. And the colonel, all he's been through is just asking questions, and he fell asleep while asking questions. So they're questioning him, and it's like, what if you had fallen asleep and just spurted things out or blurted things out while you were sleeping, but they're saying, no, it must have been you, Jung. So that's where the whole big argument comes in between them. And it's eventually decided by, I guess, the majority, because that's what happens in situations like this. You get, out of maybe 5 people that are left, 3 or 4, the majority, to agree on something, and that becomes justice then. They decide, or at least the colonel, the guy in charge, is kind of like leading with the opinion that we're going to have to execute Jung, because he was probably the one that spilled the beans, and so he's the traitor. And back on Earth, this is how we would deal with traitors, so we got to do it here. And so we get a little bit of music here to share. Let me call that up.
Number 6.
Number 6. 6 of 9. We have 9 clips tonight.
9. If 6 turned out to be 9, I don't mind. Jimi Hendrix.
Very good. You never know when you're going to get a quote.
I wish to congratulate you gentlemen.
No, I'm going to play that music again because it was so short, but it was really good.
I didn't hear any music,
You should be hearing this.
and I don't see video either.
You don't see the video.
No, it's on YouTube, but I don't know if they're. I have
Oh,
YouTube
Evie
muted.
Muggs.
Let me see.
I see it.
All right. Well, I'll play it one more time. Here's the music.
And I hear it.
Okay, Flav can hear it and see it, so that's all right.
I wish to congratulate.
But that is awesome. This doom, 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 doom. I mean, they used a bass in this. A bass guitar is in the score. And so that's some of the lower tones that are plucked. And I think some of them sound like there's also vibraphone. That's the keyboard instrument that you play with mallets. And there's tubes underneath the metal keys of the vibraphone that have oscillating discs in them that spin and give a tremolo effect, like a boom, 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 boom. And so we have that going on. Really kind of like cool lounge music ensemble, except here it's a little bit more um, insidious. So this is the music that's underlying what's happening with these guys. But let's play the rest of this guy's line.
You gentlemen, your decision to cooperate was intelligent and brave.
All right, so there we have it. The Ebonite saying your decision to cooperate was intelligent and brave. And then he asks after that, how did you decide who would talk? Did you draw straws? And that's what other people did. And I think he said in group 3 or whatever. So it's basically, now they didn't stop to think that, is this true? Did this guy's telling us that one of us cracked, but maybe he's lying. They don't even consider that. They just take it at face value that, okay, so one of us did crack and it was probably that young. And that's when they're going to, since they heard him talk about drawing straws, they decide that's how they're going to figure out who is among them is going to kill Jung, who's standing right there, but kind of nice for them to be talking about killing you right in front of you. But that's exactly how it goes. And so it's the colonel that we'll see in a moment. Like Jung is even standing up for himself, though. He's questioning Dix. It's like, what happened, when you were finally got your voice back? And he was talking about whispering to his mother. It's like, what happened there? Did you talk? And then there's Willimore, who doesn't really want to do this. He's like against the whole idea of killing him. He's not up to that, but the colonel's trying to get them all motivated into killing Jung here. Poor guy, he has the worst condition of all of them. But then he even fights back and talks about the colonel as far as, you chose men over, because he had told him the story before about a beautiful woman that he turned away from because she called him a professional soldier. And he's like, he didn't like that term. And I don't know. So this guy's questioning him based on the fact that he had turned down love with a woman to be with like these guys in the military and stuff. And maybe it's your hatred for them that, drives you and that sort of thing. So they're all just like going after each other in one way or another. But since Jung was the most recent one, since they said that someone had basically given it up and, let out the secrets, then obviously it must be him. So they assume that, and this is where they decide they're going to draw straws. It's actually cloth, but the same thing. The short cloth is what tells you you're the one that has to kill Jung. And so we're going to hear the music here. Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. There we go.
Colonel, what would it accomplish?
Well, maybe.
I could almost understand killing him before he talked. We thought he might be a traitor, but why now?
There's no leniency for a traitor. None at all. He earned the death penalty all by himself. There's no reason why we should handle Major Jong any differently here than if he were down on Earth. I told you all before we were captured, the only laws we would have here are those we brought with us. We need those laws. Even the questionable ones, even the painful ones, we need them. They remind us that we were civilized enough to make them in the first place.
Perhaps to remind us that we are not as civilized as we should be.
Yes, that's what I like. Is his
Yeah,
return
why not?
there.
Yeah, instead of actually solving a problem, let's make a scapegoat and pretend like we're solving a problem. And rather than turning your eye to the real enemy, because the real enemy is really powerful, let's just turn on each other and pretend we're solving problems. Sound familiar? It should.
Yeah,
It should
and
sound familiar.
Well, thank God we've grown. That never happens now.
Right, Mike? Right? Oh my gosh.
I think my
Wow.
nose just grew.
Pinocchio, Mike. How dare you?
Man.
This is
I think
I
there's a
think-
knock at my
yeah.
door. Oh, no.
I think this is the most interesting part of the whole thing. It took them a
Yeah.
while to get here. I think they could have been more concise with their storytelling, but yeah, this is an important point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the question of, okay, is this civilization? Just because it's the way the law would kind of work. Is that really civilized law? Is that what you need to do with somebody who, let's just say, you are captured and you're being tortured and you can't take it anymore and you give up secrets? It's like, do you deserve the death penalty for that, or I don't know. It's one of those things that it's going to always challenge all of us because we don't know how strong we could be, or how strong of a purpose we should have.
But I
Um,
think the greater point is that in this scenario, the real enemy is at least at this point in the story, we think the real enemy is the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-seeing, all alien.
mhm.
And rather than turning on the alien collectively, because it's the alien that's causing all of this pain, it's much easier for them to turn on each other and choose a scapegoat to punish.
Yeah,
So rather than looking the real problem in the eye, they make up a fake problem and solve it that way. And that's what we got today. That's what we got.
all right.
That's our world in in a nutshell. Let's not look at who's really causing all the problems and turn our eyes turn against each other.
So what you're saying is we haven't learned a damn thing.
We haven't learned a damn thing, Mike. Exactly right. But yeah, it's interesting how the people who wrote this were aware.
Well,
All right.
It's
Well,
the end of the world as we know
As
it.
we know it. And
I feel fine.
fine.
that's the end of these slides as we know it. So we have one more set left, but before then, I did promise we're going to have a little musical interlude here.
Ooh.
So I am going to call up a tab here that I have open. This is a YouTuber that I found. I was searching to see if I could find some YouTube video with the Onafets synthesizer being used in it. And alas, I was not able to, but I did find this. And actually, I did a Google search, and what came up video-wise was our stream, which had not happened yet at this point. And this video from YouTube that I am about to share now. Let's go over here to sharing. And where this gentleman plays a theremin, an actual real theremin. And it's
actually really plays.
Yes, it's music from the series. So what I'm going to do, I need to do it like this. I need to put its sound back on so we can hear it. And away we go. All right. So let's see here.
Cool beans.
Check out who we have here playing this. Whoa. What happened?
What's that?
What happened?
I think you hit one. I think you're repeating one of mine there, bud.
Oh, okay.
What happened? What happened? No. The invasion of the Gorley Snatchers.
Awesome.
No, I just wanted to read this guy's thing here. Outer Limits
The Hawks are coming to get
incidental
you.
music. Yeah, incidental music. Theremin.
Incidental.
Yeah, I guess this is an episode called The Garden. I haven't gotten to that episode yet, but we shall see. But anyway, this is, who do we have here? Charles Howe videos. Charles Howe. No, Chris Howe. So Chris Howe, I'm going to have to check him out on the side. See if he can come on Earworms.
Stepping out for a moment, gentlemen, I hear Inga knocking at my window.
Okay. Get her in on camera.
Well, you must get Inga.
Yes. She helped us get to 1K last week.
Keep rubbing it in.
Oh, man. All right. So here we go. Oh,
There's a little square there for a fourth slot there, you know?
Yes, there is. Yes, World of Swap Shop also helped. If you are interested in some good Star Wars stories written by someone who really cares, please check out last week's episode for the Swap Shop from the channel Star Wars Retold was with us last week. Great stuff. Some audio dramas of Star Wars, of a Star Wars story picking up after The Force Awakens and kind of going back to the way Star Wars stories used to be. Anyway, let us check this out. We have an audio clip here already, or a video clip with audio in it. Number 8. And let's see what we have here. So we are once again at this moment where they're drawing straws to see who's going to kill Jung. And yes, not exactly the nicest thing to do.
God help them.
I heard some of my synth in that.
Nice.
Yeah, basically high frequency.
Ooh, ooh.
I heard some of that in there with a little bit of reverb, some delay.
Have you, just out of curiosity, mister, have you ever shown off the Arduino Theremin with your Werkstatt here on Earworms?
We did. We played the video.
With the weird formats and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I still got that Arduino Theremin with the ultrasonic range sensor if you want to set it up again with the Werkstatt.
Yes, we were able to generate some really interesting sounds there, formants that sound like speech, and weren't actually able to make words, but it sounded really, it sounded like an ancient.
I kind of feel a duet coming on here for future show.
Yes.
Voices of the past.
Yes.
Alrighty. So anyway, let's move along here. They see that, which is presumably the next crew coming in a spaceship, and I guess it getting defended against and destroyed. Although it was kind of weird looking. It's hard to tell that, but that's essentially what happened is that the next set of troops weren't able to get through because someone had given away their defenses or their attack vector or whatever. And here we go. Someone pulls the short cloth, and it's Terrence, I believe, who pulls it. And he's the one that then would have to kill Jung, but he can't bring himself to do it. He just can't. even though all the dramatic moments and all the dramatic music, looking at him, there he is standing right behind him. He just can't do it because, well, it's also bare hands. You got to do it with your bare hands. So it's kind of like tough. And there he is just saying that he's not able to take it. He's not able to do it. And Jung is there behind him as he says that. So anyway, then Dix is like upset about it. It's like you drew the short straw, and then Jung starts arguing with him. Basically, they're not getting anywhere. They're really just still arguing with each other, and at least no one has to die yet. And then he asks Dix, what about your mother? What did you whisper to her? Maybe you whispered the answers away when you whispered to your mother. And then that's where Dick starts having his hallucination again, sees his mother there, and then, he's trying to hug his mother. And once again, he's basically hugging air because the guys don't see the mother, only he does. And there we go. There he is, hugging air again. And so because of that, they're questioning him now, but Dix is basically going crazy at this point. He's running out. You see him running out there, and he runs out here where he sees one of the Ebonites, and he's just kind of like running in circles and doesn't know what to do, and collapses, and his fellow compatriots come over to him to see what's wrong. And then we see these guys on a view screen, and this is when the Ebonites decide they're sick of this, and we start seeing what it's all about. Here we go. The interrogator comes in and says, Private Dix is having a mental breakdown. Jung lost the use of his arm for at least a year. And he says, and Krug is dead. And basically the alien says, we cannot go along with this anymore until we have to tell them what's going on. And that's where we find out these two soldiers here, well, they're not soldiers, they're officers, pretty high up, are basically saying, no, we can't tell them. That'll ruin everything. And this guy's like, no, we got to do it. This is just wrong. And pretty soon we see the colonel come in. So the colonel comes in, and basically they tell him the truth, that basically this is all a game. And they even use that word, game, just like, what do they call those? Military games or mind games? I don't know. But the whole thing was they were trying to see what the reaction of the people would be if they were put into a situation like this. And they said, all right, from now on, you're going to have to, we didn't want to let any of you in on it because we wanted genuine responses. But at this point, we can let you in on it, and you basically have to keep the secret from everybody else. But Luke Stone doesn't like that idea. He's upset about being lied to himself as well as the other people. And the alien says that this is getting inhumane, and the military brass are like, how do you know about what humane is? Do you know what happened after the end of the Korean War? And basically the idea is that they started this whole thing because at the end of the Korean War, it was assessed that none of the POWs tried to escape, or none of them did escape. And they basically looked at that as a failure, as like them losing their conviction and losing their strength to overcome the enemy. And so what they're trying to do is find out, where everybody's at now and assess things. I don't know how this motivates anybody anymore, but whatever. They decided that they're going to do this war game and see what happens here, because now we're dealing with an alien culture from another planet, and we want to see what happens. That, if you get captured here, are you going to keep the will to survive? Are you going to keep from giving up the secrets? And then also, how are you going to deal with the Jung situation with someone who does give up the secrets? And they said, well, we were about to kill him. And the guy said, well, we would keep that from happening. And the alien's like, are you sure you'd be able to do that? I mean, he's really at the point where it's like, this is getting out of your control, guys. And he doesn't like the game anymore. And so they just want to keep going forward and just have Luke Stone just keep the secret with him. But he doesn't want to. He's basically at the point where he's going to give up on the whole thing and just tell the other guys what's really going on. And so, yeah, that's really the point that Colonel Luke Stone's at. And they're outside here now, and these guys are talking about, they're really pissed off, and they're about to kill the first ebonite that they come across. Even Jung, with his only one good arm, is into that, and so they decide, whatever, we're just going to kill the next ebonite that we see, and we'll do it with our bare hands, and that's it. And so they start attacking one. They see one there, and they start attacking him, and that's when these guys come running out, and Colonel Stone basically says, stop it, I'll explain everything to you, but it's not the one you're after, that sort of thing. And there's a bit of a scuffle, though, because one of the military brass gets a hold of a gun and is basically holding him at gunpoint. And, you don't know what's going to happen next, but there he is holding them at gunpoint. And one of the guys gets behind him. I guess it's hard to tell who that is there, but one of them gets behind him and disarms him. Gun falls to the ground. Someone picks it up. I think it's Terrence that picks it up, and he's the one that kind of sees the two struggling, and he shoots because he thinks the guy's a hallucination, but he's not a hallucination. He was real. And that's what Luke tells him here at the end, that, no, the guy you just shot was real. But he's one of the military brass guys that got them there in this first place. So there's Terrence after shooting him, and Luke says, nope, he was real. And that's where we get the moral of the story, right here. And just some sort of advice for the future. So let's check that out. The closing line of The Outer Limits, where they always end it with a message. And that's the kind of message we're looking for.
The exploration of human behavior under simulated conditions of stress is a commonplace component of the machinery called war. So long as man anticipates and prepares for combat, be it with neighboring nations or with our neighbors in space, these unreal games must be played. And there are only real men to play them. According to established military procedure, the results of the Eben maneuvers will be recorded in books and fed into computers for the edification and enlightenment of all the strategists of the future. Perhaps they will learn something. We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to the Outer Limits.
Am I seeing a cat up there?
Oh, man.
Yep, this is
Nobody's
Joser.
been paying attention to you for 5 minutes, Lawrence. Sorry. You've just been talking to yourself.
I felt like that, but, some of us have to stay on mission.
Yeah, man. The minute the cat came on, the show was over.
So that's Joser there, huh?
Yeah.
Where is he at?
He's under my desk.
Okay.
He had some dry food. He followed Inga into the house and had some dry food and then set up under my desk.
Let me see here.
And now the cleaning is going on.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You're a baby. Yes, you are. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, you ruined it.
He's like, I'm out of here.
You ruined it. Oh, well.
He wants pets.
Well, there we go. That is our nightmare. So, I guess any concluding thoughts, folks? No, I guess
Well,
not. Well,
well, the whole thing got thrown off. You know, the cat came in.
yeah. Well, I guess I can understand that. But anyway, I guess Liza put it most
Now we're all just
eloquently.
like,
Yeah, Liza put it most eloquently earlier and stuff. But yeah, just to think of it, that's all done just for the sake of getting information. Military strategists, how to deal with, POWs losing. I mean, I don't think what they did would answer any questions other than, you know, what
well,
kind of torture broke people down.
if only we could say that, man, a lesson was learned out of this. But no. Well, what we have here is that some 50 years later, plus years later, or 60 years, whatever it is, it's been a long time. We haven't learned a damn thing.
Yep.
So it's sad. It's kind of like listening to, an old Bob Dylan song or something and going, shit, that's as, appropriate today as it was when the thing was written, or any other song for that matter. So,
Well, it's one thing if it's a timeless song, but it's another thing when it's a timeless, like, failure in humanity, I guess.
well, yeah, the
Because,
song's not a failure, or the show's not a failure. We failed.
yeah,
I mean, Gene Roddenberry did the same thing with Star Trek, so, and Twilight Zone. And yeah, I mean, there always seemed to be some underlying message there that, or we'll go forward and then go backwards. So,
yeah. Well, I think that's why J.R.R. Tolkien said that he only has two political philosophies that he could get behind. Either anarchy, where there's no rulers, no leaders, or monarchy, where he says there's one ruler, and at least then you know who the enemy is.
I like that.
Yep. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Very wise men.
well, there's truth to that, but yeah.
Yeah.
what I'd like for our chat to do, since I've gone through, this is a different, I haven't seen this. Oh, it's Robot. Yeah, I haven't seen.
Yeah, robot.
Great
yeah,
to see you.
Joser looks like Spot from Star Trek.
Yeah, and now I was going to ask our chat, please leave a couple ideas. If you're watching the show after the fact, leave some ideas of what you might like to do next week. I don't have a schedule at this point, except we will at the beginning of April have Albert on, who's also known as Open for Lunch, a musical sawist. Basically,
Yes.
he plays the musical saw, which he calls the acoustic theremin.
Yep.
think it's the term he
That's
uses.
what. Not just him. A lot of people call it the acoustic
Mhm.
theremin because if you were just to hear recordings of someone playing a musical saw, you'd think it was a theremin. It's amazing. Oh, Scott has a good suggestion for next week. The Fifth
yeah?
Element. What do you think?
Well, I think we could definitely do some highlights from it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would take 2 weeks. Films usually take 2 weeks. These hour-long TV episodes can usually be done in one.
Look, you could just skip to the scene and focus the entire earworms on the enhanced opera singer.
Well,
Oh
is that
my
what Scott
God.
wants?
I
This-
don't know, but that is the scene in the movie. OMG. Yes.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely do it at least by some point, but right now that's on as one of the possibilities. Anybody else got some ideas there?
Well, yeah, and we got one more week of starting late too.
Yes.
Yes,
that's
we have
right.
one more week of doing the 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time start, because on the 30th, the UK will then be on Daylight Savings Time as well, and we can go back to 7:30 our time, which is Eastern once again. So if you're in Central or Pacific, calculate it from there. But we'll be going back to starting an hour earlier as soon as our Brits are in alignment.
Maybe we should just have a hour long of cat cam.
That'd be fine for me.
Cat cam. Oh gosh.
Now, wait a minute. Robot said something here about Lucille Ball.
We'll
She
interview the
funded
cat.
the first Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Her, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Desilu Productions.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, Desilu
Yep.
Productions. That was.
It is Desilu Productions. That's correct.
Yep.
But I didn't know she personally put up the money.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Who would have
pretty
thought
cool.
that she liked sci-fi?
Well, she did. There was that one recording where she did something where they were doing some sort of electrical. They were making some recordings and on records, like actually on records from I don't know, electrical impulses from her voice and stuff. So she seemed to be kind of into that kind of World's Fair technology and stuff, kind of whole type of deal.
Cool.
So should it be The Fifth Element? Anybody else have other ideas?
Well, we could start taking a look at Babylon 5. Maybe clips. Nice synthy clips from it.
Maybe. Yeah, I love Babylon 5, but, I'm just trying to think, how am I going to do that,
Yeah, he has
That might be-
cute toes. He's a baby. Yes. Oh.
So we have a little more info here. Would you be able to catch that, Liza? The
What was
robot. Some more about Star Trek and
Oh, let me
Lucille
get
Ball.
that in the chat. Oh. Lucy thought Star Trek was a show about celebrities traveling, entertaining, question mark.
Oh,
So
like the Love
she-
Boat.
Yeah, so she funded the show and the rest is history. Okay, cool.
That would
beans.
be interesting if there was like a Star Trek series that was kind of like the Love Boat and that. Of course, I don't know. I don't know anything about today's actors and stuff. So I wouldn't know how that would work out. Stitch. Let's see.
Old Hans Zimmer scores, question mark?
Old Hans Zimmer scores. That could be.
Well, we got it flown now, don't we?
Okay, let's make a poll here. We have two options for the poll: The Fifth Element, Old Hans Zimmer scores, and then two more ideas. Maybe Robot would like us to try another Star Trek. I was thinking of just doing, one episode, just that one. What was it? Journey to Eden. The one that has the musical instruments, the hippies on it and everything, and just doing that episode. I know we've done that as one instrument included in the competition before, but I thought maybe just focusing on just that episode and some clips from that.
Well, I'm going to let you guys hammer it out. I got to get to bed.
Okay. We'll hammer it out and we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm good with whatever y'all decide. We'll let the audience choose.
All right, Mike.
Flav asks, how about a Hammer horror episode?
Good night, everyone.
Horror.
Good night, Mike. Thank you so much.
Hammer horror. Well,
Good night.
No, I'm not a big horror guy, although I am kind of dig some of what I've seen from John Carpenter. So we might do a John Carpenter film again in the future. Okay, we're getting good nights from our chat. Oh no, they're saying good night to Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, so let me just put a poll up and let's see here. We'll see what happens. Start a poll. All right. What should we do next week? All right. Fifth Element is one.
Woo. What is it, Boochie Boo? What is it? I'm just putting a camera there, Boo. Yeah, sure, baby.
I'll say Hans Zimmer highlights. Yeah, he does have a number of good scores. But he did a lot of scores, so there's some that are great and some that aren't so great, but very competent composer.
There we go, Jojo Boo. You're a baby.
Let's see here. How about this? Journey to Eden, Star Trek. Because we could play more highlights from that one. That was their big musical episode. All right, and let's see. One last one. What would be the fourth one be? How about other? Or no, I should put something. What would be option 4, Liza?
People say, Scott says, I really don't care for Tom Cruise. Neither do I.
Well, I didn't say we're going to do Tom Cruise. We did one in the past, Legend, but The Fifth Element, that's Bruce Willis.
It was Scott who suggested The Fifth Element.
Yeah. So I'm just not sure where
and
Tom
I
Cruise
agreed with
comes
him.
into
We
it.
should do The Fifth Element. But like I said, we could throw in some Babylon 5.
All right, so I'll throw that in a Babylon 5 episode. We'll do maybe an episode or highlights of something that involves Christopher Frank's music, because he was in Tangerine Dream and also did the soundtrack and incidental music for Babylon 5.
There we go.
So there we go. We pop that up. And we will, in the beginning of April, have, is it the 9th? Or I forget what date it is, but it's either the first or second Sunday in April. We will have Albert open for lunch.
Yep, now open for lunch on the musical Saw. Yep.
So he'll be playing for us and
demoing
it.
Playing for us and demoing it, talking about the special construction or mods you have to make to a regular saw in order to make it a musical saw. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, you may not want to include the teeth.
Well, actually, the teeth have to be shaped in a particular way in order for it to be bowed. But you need the teeth.
You know what? It looks like the Fifth Element is it's cleaning up.
The fifth, yes. Did everyone vote?
Oh, we have 11 votes there, and let's see how many are watching. 15 watching.
15. Oh, that's not bad.
Well,
got
a
most
couple.
people to vote.
Yeah. Anybody want to have a say in the matter? Please vote now or forever hold your peace. Yeah. Plus the two of us watching would be part of that 15. So here we go.
Yes, the Fifth Element is smoking, Scott. Yes, good call.
All right. So we'll do that next week. I think we'll focus on highlights. I don't know that I'm going to be laboriously going through each and everything like I did tonight, but enough to encapsulate the story so that folks that have seen it before can still remember it and everything and get those highlights, especially the musical stuff. And that one scene, the opera.
Yes.
That was very inspirational for our psyche here.
Well, not just that. I mean, they had to process this woman's voice so that she can sound like she can also sing in the male range. So they did a lot of clever stuff to her voice back then, and this was early 90s, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, where was auto-tune and you know, voice shaping technology then. I mean, how
Well,
advanced was
auto
it?
tuning, the first time I heard it commercially was Cher. Do you believe in life after love?
But this was
I
natural
can hear
sounding.
someone inside me say, I really don't think you're strong in there.
It has to be older than that, though. Um,
Well, auto tune, yeah, I mean, it had to be developed before then, but that was the first commercial release that used it.
well, what do you call the type of vocal processing where you change like the fundamental, but also change the formants to make it sound like so for example, if you pitch up my voice, I don't sound like a chipmunk. It sounds natural. What do you call that type of vocal processing?
Oh,
Oh, wait, we have an answer. Robot has the answer. Kevorkian pitch bend. I gotta look that up. I mean,
Kevorkian. Hmm.
I use it all the time in my compositions. I just don't know what that type of processing is called.
Yeah, I've always just called it pitch shifting without, an increase in tempo, or
Yeah,
a
but
decrease in tempo.
even when you do that, now there are algorithms in
Yeah,
newer
that's true. Yeah, I
plugins.
never really got into the deep algorithm side of it. Just
Yeah,
that it
that
started working, that you could actually shift pitch without speeding things up and slowing things down, which is the only way you could do it for the longest time, even in digital.
lots of
Yeah,
interesting
Melodyne played a major role in being able to do that sort of stuff, taking
register
individual pitches
shift.
out of
Yes,
uh,
Stitch, I think
mixed music.
it could be better described as register shift because yeah, you can tune down my voice, but it won't sound like a male voice unless you compensate for the format, and it takes 3 bell curves that change in a particular way for that to happen. The thing is, I don't know what these plugins with the pitch shift and the algorithms that control the bell curves. I don't know what these plugins are called. I know what they're doing. I just don't know what they're called.
Hmm.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
97 was when The Fifth Element was released.
Yeah. So they had I mean, you're able to do it without plugins, I'm sure, but I wonder how much work they had to put into the processing of her voice to make all the register shifts sound natural. You know, it was an amazing part of the movie.
Yep. Now let's see. Life After Love. It's a 2000. No, that's something else. That Cher song.
Yeah, it
I don't need
wasn't
to look it up. Screw it.
yeah, it wasn't
Um,
I'm sure it was
but it was
I
late
mean,
90s. It was probably like 98. It was around that time of The Fifth Element. That's true.
no. That share thing was way after the Fifth Element. I think I was in middle school when the Fifth Element came out.
Which was 97, according to this.
Okay, the share song came out in the early 2000s, I think.
No, do you believe in life after love? No,
Stitch is like, I'd like to forget about that share song.
Oh, remember that Gordon Ramsay episode, that Hotel Hell, where the lady was singing it?
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, we could do a Hotel Hell. Why not?
What?
Just to throw the chat a curveball, we could do a Gordon Ramsay Hotel Hell. Why not? He's not convinced, folks.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, they're fine to watch when you just need something to go to bed at night. But 1998 was that Cher song.
No.
So 1 year.
It was
yes.
much later than that.
Nope,
No.
No, it was 98, and that confirms with my memory.
You're doing a brave search, aren't
No,
you?
that was
I'm gonna
on
Google it.
Google. Yeah,
I'm gonna
Wikipedia.
Google it. Hold on. No. That's not right. Can't be right.
Well, I remember still being in Pennsylvania at the time.
Share
So.
life after love release. I'm sorry, I have to type with one hand because I'm holding a cat. I'm holding the cat cam in the other hand. Release. Date. It was not the 90s. Oh, right, Jojo? Right, Jojo? No, that's Believe. That is not the song we're talking about.
Do you believe in life after love is the chorus of the song, and I think it's just called.
Wait. I found
I think
the
its name is
remastered
actually
version. Believe. Share topic. Where's the song?
I think it's called Believe.
No, Believe is an album. Let me go down into the what's the name of this? Okay, I found the song, but 25th anniversary. So what was 25 years ago in 28? Okay, so 2018 minus 25. Give me the year.
That would be 2018 minus 25. So that'd be 1998 minus 5, 1993. That's a little early for it.
No. It says the official 4K remastered video for Believe from Cher's 1990. Okay, you are right. Oh my gosh, I thought this song was more recent.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's kind of how things function here. Just so you guys in the chat know that a lot of times we just have to kind of sit and wait for her to find out that I was right in something I actually looked up from a fairly reputable source.
What the brave searches have led you astray.
I didn't do a brave
before.
search. I told you it's on Wikipedia. Reading Wikipedia. I know Wikipedia is not the gold standard in everything, but knowing what year Cher released this song, I think it's pretty accurate. All right, folks. So anyway, I think we're going to call it a night, and we thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Stitch, thanks for making it over here. I know you're a mod elsewhere. It's really hard with all these streams at different times. But yes, Scott gets the request. Next week, we are going to do The Fifth Element. Yeah. Yes. And I'm looking forward to looking up all the musical information on that. So, yes, good night, Stitch. Good night, Scott. Good night, Robot Flav. Thanks for joining us again. We will soon be synchronized with the UK. Well, actually, right now, Earworms is synchronized with the UK. We're just not synchronized with the United States.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you for joining us. And we are going to sign off now.
All right, Chaito.
Right, Liza?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I even have our shorter one ready to go.
8:56. We are now leaving the air.